So this is Kanata's run, any percent current world record of 128.15, and I will compare that to my current PB of 141.15. We both end on 15 seconds, I didn't realise that until now. So, I don't have anything planned for this, I'm just gonna talk about what I see and just ramble about anything, about what's going on in the run. Pause this. Okay, so I'm just gonna skip the intro bit because I've seen this like 400 times, I don't need to see this again. Right, I'm gonna be pausing a lot because I'm gonna be very, very nitpicky about everything in both of our runs. I will complain about things a lot for both of us, not just him and not just me. So the first thing that bothers me about his run is the fact that he doesn't talk to her again to get the quest. He walks straight past her. So then he would have to run back up to talk to her again to get the quest, which is the very first thing that bothers me. Which is, in my run here, talk to the lady, and then I just get the quest. So now I don't have to run back up this way to talk to her again to get the quest. So that's the very first minor thing that I would complain about. It's not even like a huge deal, but to me, it is. So, we both get Gunlance. I've tried basically every weapon for the intro, and I found that Gunlance is just the most consistent, and it's the best weapon for the intro. I tried Heavy Bowgun too, but it all comes down to the 1-star Urgent Azuros, and the Gunlance is just the best against him. It does the most damage, it's the most consistent, so while I have tried everything, it seems that Gunlance is just simply the best in 1-star. So, a minor difference here between me and Kanata is the way we buy items. Now this is actually significant and it's not just a nitpicky thing. The way he buys items is he goes forward in the pages. So he buys his Ivy first, and he goes forward to the Power Seed, then the Popfish, and then he ends it off with Firecaster and Dung Bomb. While I go the opposite direction. Go up to it. There we go. I go in the opposite direction. I go backwards in the pages and I buy the Dung Bomb first, followed by the Firecaster. Now this is actually important, because when you're on the quest, it means that the Firecaster and a Dung Bomb will be my first two items. Which means I don't have to switch. I don't have to switch my items around. I can just be on Dung Bomb, and when I throw it, it will go straight to Firecaster. So I don't need to switch. And then most importantly, when I use the Dung Bomb, the honey on the first thing you gather is the honey. The royal honey will go straight to that Dung Bomb slot, because that's now an empty slot and it will be first on my page, compared to Kanata, who bought his items in the reverse order. So his royal honey will be at the bottom of his inventory, which makes it harder to get to when he wants to deliver the honey in the camp, which I'll show when I get there. And you just skip the intro. Good touch. Okay, so this is what I just mentioned. See how the honey is like halfway down his inventory? And he has to go straight to it. He has to like do a bunch of inputs to get to the honey. When I did my peddler cycle, when I bought the peddler items, I did this in reverse order with the intention that for some reason I sorted my inventory. Yeah, what a terrible example. Good job, me. But let's try and get the first frame of where I actually show my inventory. There we go. So, if I wasn't terrible, I think I sorted my inventory out of habit. But because I threw my dung bomb first, and that's the first item I bought because I did my peddler cycle in reverse order, now my royal honey's at the top of my inventory, and I don't have to search for it while I'm farcasting back to camp. So it's just a tiny adjustment like that, which makes it really efficient. So just tiny efficiency things like that is what I really enjoy. And I look back at my inventory because I just realized what I did. So on this particular PB, I ruined my own strat by sorting my inventory. But usually, I would be at the top of my inventory right now, and I would already be delivering the honey because I didn't need to search for it. So just like tiny adjustment. And then we search for 2 bones here at this bone spot because the gun lance upgrade requires 2 regular bones, not mystery bones, just 2 bones. Otherwise it's a reset. I'll go back to Kanata's run. The thing that's really intimidating about Kanata's run, and just Kanata himself, he's so efficient in the village. Like, he's so efficient with text boxes too. He doesn't over spam. Like, as soon as his text box is over, he's already pressing down to go to the upgrade section. It's like he knows exactly when to stop mashing, because if you keep mashing, you either go into the create weapon section or you just like cancel the text box and then you have to talk to him again. Just tiny little things like knowing when to stop mashing, and his menuing is pretty insane. So that's a really intimidating thing about his run. He's just really, really efficient with his village, his menuing, and his mashing. There's not much to talk about here, it's just a very simple jaggy quest. Chief attack and a 1 poke to kill. Very easy stuff. Yeah, this next area can be very annoying. So, this area is really annoying simply because of these 2 jaggy at the back. It's RNG where they go. This guy here can go all the way to the left if he wants to, which means we have to trek all the way out of our way. This guy could go all the way to the right. This guy usually stays where he is because he spots us quite quickly, and then he just taunts us. So the RNG, depending on where these 2 guys at the back go, can waste a lot of time, which is out of our control. It is what it is, and it's just one of those small Monster Hunter things that suck. RNG is what it is. So if we look at what he gets, this is pretty good. This guy stayed in the same place, and then this guy just ran backwards a little bit, which is fine. And then compared to what I get, let's see what I get. So for me, as you can see this Jaggy here, he decided to run to the left, which sucks. But this guy at the back also ran to the left, so they kind of followed each other a little bit. They're not as spaced out as they could be. So my RNG for these guys was a little bit worse, but it's not as bad as it could have been. I didn't handle it very well though. I did it very slowly. Oh, this guy actually ran to the right a little bit. But that's fine, because then him and the guy at the front will sync up nicely. So we gather for bugs here. We want thunder bugs and flash bugs, which is mostly what you'll get from this spot. It's a really good gathering spot for bugs. Skip ahead, we both get the spider webs. I think we both just run straight forward here, because there's really nothing to do in the village at this point. This is the Bofango quest. Not much to talk about with the Bofango quest, it's really uneventful. Although I do notice right here, he buys pickaxes here, which is different to what I do. When I'm in the village after Bofango quest, I just run straight ahead. I don't get pickaxes. I think I get mine earlier. I'm pretty sure I get them after Jaggies. No, I get them after somewhere else. But I'll skip my Bofango quest because it's not interesting. So my Bofango village, I just run straight ahead. I don't buy pickaxes like Kanata does. Now this is the first actual big fight that we both do. This is Azuras, the 1-star urgent. I just skipped when the fight actually starts. Here we go. Let's see how good his fight was. overall, it's a very solid fight from Kanata. He did have some spaghetti at the end with his controls. He tried to use Wyvern Fire, but he misinputted twice, which it happens, but the only big mistake was taking damage, but again, with Azuras's hitboxes, they are very big, his swipes are huge, and they're hard to dodge sometimes. So him taking damage here is very understandable. And then he spaghettis his inputs a little bit. But overall, it's a very good fight. Yeah, a little bit of spaghetti input. But definitely a very impressive time. Now this is my fight. That's a little bit of spaghetti there. You never want to do that attack. It's very slow and it doesn't do enough damage to warrant how slow the animation is. That's just a mistake by me. Get tripped here. You'll notice somehow, sometimes I just stay clear of his swipes. Again, his swipes are huge hitboxes and they can be hard to dodge. So most of the time I just don't attempt it, I just stay clear of them. I get tripped around when trying to place my trap, which sucks, but it is what it is. So my time is 13:23 on Azuras, and Kanata's time was 13:33, I believe. A little bit past, no, before that. See if I can get the frame. So 13:31. So I was just 8 seconds faster on my first split than Kanata on my PB. Which usually mine's a lot faster than that. 13:23, I would consider that quite slow for my standards. Usually my first split is like around a 13, sometimes a 12:50. It's kind of what I usually get for my first split. But I think we both had good Azuras fights. We both had our mistakes though. I got tripped, he got slapped, and then he had spaghetti inputs at the end, and I had trouble placing my trap, so we both lost time. But it wasn't anything major, we both did well in our Azuras fights. So he got the good peddler cycle. Unfortunately, peddler cycles are something we have to pay attention to. This is a good cycle to get first because you get to have the remaining of your Ivy, Power Seeds, and then Scatterfish, which are like one of the most important things in this run. So he got a really good cycle early on, and it's necessary to even be able to continue the run later on. So he got that cycle really early on, which is really good. He actually got quite lucky in his peddler cycles, honestly. If there's one thing that makes me jealous about his run, it's definitely peddler cycles. Let's see what I got for mine. So here, it looks like I actually got the same. I got a slightly different variation, but the results are still the same. We both got Scatterfish cycle for our first peddler cycle, which is very good. So, this is actually a significant difference here, which is where I will be able to compare our two videos together for a little bit, because he chooses Ludroth quest first, while I choose Roggy quest first. So I do Roggy's first and he does Ludroth first. There is a significant reason why, but I think I would have to watch his video first to be able to explain it. So if you've not done this before, it can be quite tricky to get those Ludroth killed quickly without them attacking you. You kinda have to max distance sheath attack them to be able to have enough time to kill them quickly. This strat's very fun, but it is RNG dependent. Using a Wyvern Fire to kill the two Ludroth. Sometimes they just don't cooperate like his didn't and you can't get the kills. But sometimes they will cooperate, they'll line up and you can get an easy double kill with a Wyvern Fire. So, the main difference between our two runs, in 2-star that is this mining spot right here after Ludroth. That is why I do Roggy first. Because this mining spot, you do it during the quest, which means we're wasting time. The quest timer is still running. We're wasting time by mining here, but we have to mine, it's necessary. So I consider this mining spot optional, which is why I do Roggy first. If I get good mining RNG during the Roggy quest, then depending how well I've done, I can then skip this mining spot right here during the Ludroth quest. That's why I do Roggy first. So I figured if I get good mining RNG in this quest first, that was horrendous spaghetti, and then I can skip this Ludroth mining quest, Ludroth quest mining spot, which is done during the quest, which wastes time. And usually we would like to mine after the quest while we're running down the timer to go back to village. I'll go back to Kanata though, because we can talk about Ruggy placement. So when the Ludroth are dead, we do lots of mining as much as we possibly can. He actually shows his inventory here, we can get a good look at what he's done. So the main thing we're mining right here is Beerlight, which is, you can see it's Beerlight, just it's a light blue icon. Even if you can't read Japanese, it's fine. You just know that dark blue is Macalite, the white is Earth Crystal, and then the light blue is Beerlight. So he's got 7, 8, and 2, which is very, very good. We need 11 Beelite to be able to continue our run, otherwise we just lose, basically. And he's already on 7, which is a very good pace. 8 Earth Crystals, we only need 8, so he's already done for Earth Crystals. Any other he mines now are just money, surplus, and we need 2 Maglite, which he's got. So his mining RNG was very clean. There's more pickaxes, his peddler cycle, let's take a look at his second peddler cycle. He gets the same cycle, the scatterfish cycle, so he just skips, which is... I understand why he would skip on this cycle. However, there are nitro shrooms on this cycle, which we use to make gunpowder. So I personally wouldn't skip this cycle, I would go straight for nitro shrooms. But if he's confident that he'll get nitro shrooms later on, that's good for him. I don't have that level of confidence though, I don't believe that the peddler will help me. So I don't skip nitro shrooms. I would buy nitro shrooms in that cycle. So let's compare our two Rockies, even though mine's at a different time. This Rocky at the front will always aggro onto you because you're very close. This guy at the back, however, as you'll see, he wanders away to Narnia. So he goes all the way back here, which is very annoying. I got lucky in mine, and mine just decided to lay down and didn't waste any time running away to Narnia. And then I waste that time by spaghettiing my inputs, which is very good of me. These two Ruggy can be annoying, but most of the time they won't be. They can decide to approach, or this Ruggy at the back can decide to lay down over here, which is a bit out of the way, we don't like that, but most of the time they approach, so we can just do a double like this. He actually missed a double, but that's fine. They just line up nicely, so we can take them out. Now, these set of 3 Ruggy here, this guy on the left, this is the big time waster right here. This guy will run into the depths of Narnia and make you run after him. So he's gone. He's not coming back. And when he turns his camera, we can see he ends up all the way over here. And we have to go back out the way we came. So it is a huge waste of time to be able to be forced to chase this Ruggy all the way over here. So that's why I call it the Narnia Ruggy. And then we have to run all the way back the way we came. Big waste of time. Unfortunately, it's just RNG. Nothing we can do about it. It's what it is. I'm not sure if I got lucky enough on mine. I did. So my Ruggy decided to lay down, which is very good. It saves a huge amount of time just for him to not run away. Unfortunately, it's just RNG. It's just another one of those Monster Hunter things. Not much we can do. We can actually line these up. He rushed it a bit, If we see that this guy aggro's at the back, you see how he runs forward to us? We can actually line them up and hit them at the same time, which saves a little bit. But he kind of just rushed into it. Which is fine, it still gets the job done. I'm not sure if mine lined up or not. Okay, they did. So you can see the way that he runs forward and we can just line them up for a double. Just saves a little bit of time, and then I miss my attack because I'm really good at this game. So we just mine the rest of our BLite. Very just standard stuff. There is actually a difference here, which I personally don't understand. He mines this rock right here, which doesn't have BLite in it. Instead it has... I don't actually remember the name of the ore. It's like an orange coloured ore. It's unique to the forest, but he mines here. I assume he mines here just for money. Oops, gone full screen. I personally... You'll see that I go into the cave instead. I skip this rock. I go to this rock at the back because this one has BLite in it. So that's one difference we have in our mining routes. I'm not really sure why he decides to go for this rock. And all I can assume is that he just really wanted money instead of being safe with BLite. So here we both buy hammer. It's our switch to hammer, and hammer's what we're going to be using the rest of the game. Let's see the peddler cycle there. I believe you got the same one. Okay, so he got scatterfish cycle again, like I said last time. I would get nitrous rooms here, I'm not sure why he didn't. I would just buy nitrous rooms for safety, but he decides to skip again. I'm gonna skip through my video because we've already seen what it looks like at this part of the run. As you can see, I do loader off second. Do I get the double at least? I do, I get the Riven Fire double, which is very nice. So I decide to mine here, I don't skip it, although I can, if things go well. And then just standard mining stuff. Let's see what my village looks like. The difference in menuing between me and Kanata is night and day. He is so much faster than I am. Okay, I'm gonna check my peddler. It's just a scatterfish cycle. I decided to buy two, not sure why. But standard scatterfish cycle, nothing important. Okay, so this is Baldrum, our first hammer monster. Trap into Power Seed. then we go straight for a charge. Very clean, very, very clean. Okay, look at my... Oops. I find it kind of interesting how we fight at different angles. It doesn't mean anything, but I just find it kind of interesting. I fight, like, more facing towards the head. So then, when it comes to the level 1 charge, I can just tap it and hold straight forward. But he does it more of, like, facing towards the feet. Which means he has to slightly readjust himself on the charge one. Very tiny thing that's, like, doesn't matter whatsoever, but I find it interesting. So this second slam can actually kill if you roll low HP. I'm not sure if I rolled low HP or not. We'll see. Yeah, so I rolled low HP, so he died right there. One charge and then bonk, dead. And then mine died here, and he had to go for a full ghosting to kill his, so... Mine was slightly faster just because of RNG. I got a good health roll. And if we just gather for stone here. Let's quickly skip through all this. And so this peddler cycle, he got a bomb material cycle. It's the only cycle that has bomb material and god bugs in it. He buys 17 of them. Bomb material is very important. It's vital because we need trank bombs, we need to make trank bombs, and we need to make flash bombs. So we need to be stocked up on bomb material at all times. And he buys 17 of them. As you can see, that's 2,500 zenny. It's very expensive, and it does surprise me that he buys so many. It makes me question where he gets all of his money from. 17 is... I usually buy 5, maybe 10, depending on my money count. But he buys 17. He's a lot more confident with his money than I am. So Jackie fight, great Jackie. I think we both get very standard fights. Congrats on the affiliation birthday, thank you. I don't actually know when my affiliation was, but thanks. I don't know why Twitch is telling you about that. I think I got the same message when I loaded up my chat and I was like, what's going on? What is this affiliation birthday? I wasn't paying attention to the fight. Twitch remembers the date for me. Twitch are stalkers. Kanata had a very clean, great Jackie fight, so before I look at that though, before I look at my own fight... Okay, my peddler cycle was... I'm buying sap plants here for some reason. And I'm spaghettiing my menu in. I am lost in the sauce, okay, that was terrible menuing. I got so lost in that peddler. Okay, so my great Jackie in comparison, let's see how mine went. Basically the exact same intro. I got staggered there, which sucks. That sucks. That's really sad. He managed to jump away. But luckily he does come straight back. So, mine wasn't as clean as his, and then I see myself get garbage straight away, so that's sad. So mine wasn't as clean as his, but it is what it is. Oh, he got staggered too. Okay. After quest stuff, not very interesting. So he buys large barrel bombs here. Recently, I've been trying to greed for mine and try to create them instead, so it's cheaper. I prefer to greed. It saves money down the line. But he just confidently buys his. Bombs are very expensive, so I prefer to create them wherever I can. Oh, hold on. Let me look at that peddler cycle. He gets a for sale cycle. I believe that's his first one. So half price on all of the items, and the two important ones are the fire herbs and the sap plants. He already bought his sap plants, but I tend to wait until they're on sale if I can. I tend to greed. Okay, and large barrels, empty large barrels, are also for sale here, which are very, very nice to get them cheaper, because we use a lot of them. So he's very happy that he did get lost in the sauce a little bit with his menuing, but my menuing was terrible all run, so I'm not going to judge him on that. He also bought a small barrel, which is very confusing. I don't know when he uses those, but he buys those. I'm not sure if he ever uses them. He does that for some reason. So this is Pekko. Okay, Kurapeko. Before we get to Kurapeko, I'm just gonna look at my peddler cycle. What happened here? I got lost in the source. Okay, my peddler cycle was also a sales cycle, but I got a different one. I got the sales cycle where you can buy bombs and trap tools, which is very, very nice. You got large barrels for sale, which is good. Very good. I'm taking too much time on this menu in here. Okay, I don't know what I'm staring at. Hurry up, move on. Okay, that took me so long. So, just a little... Go back to this paddler cycle here. It's very important to know what cycle you're on the second you open his menu. So right here we have two different cycles, and the way we know, except for the fact that his is in Japanese, the way that we know that we have different cycles, the way I look at it is the difference between fire herbs and sap plants. If they're separated like this, like these two are separated, then I know that this is a large barrel cycle. If they're together like this, then I know that it's the trap tool cycle with the large barrel bombs instead of the large barrels. So just being able to spot what cycle it is the second you open the menu will save you a lot of time and effort. So that's what I do. I just look at the space between the two different plants, and then I know what cycle it is. Just a small thing there. So, Kurapeko, he takes dung bombs from the box. I'm greedy and I decide to skip them. Yeah, I just run straight past. I'm not interested in those dung bombs. But there is a very good reason why he takes dung bombs, and that's because there are two large monsters in this quest. There's a Kurapeko and there's a Great Jaggy. The Great Jaggy can ruin this quest. And he can cause a lot of trouble and maybe even make you reset. So the fact that he takes dung bombs is very understandable. But for me personally, I'm not taking the dung bombs. I'm just gonna risk it. If the fight sucks, then I'd rather just reset than try and recover it. That's just my personal preference. Let's skip the cutscene. Our track placement is slightly different, but it doesn't really matter. It's the same thing at the end of the day. So, very slight difference. I shouldn't be pausing through this fight. I should just let it play. But I definitely do want to point out this small difference first. First of all, our track placement. He places his about here. I do it deeper in. So, I start my swing. You see, we do a side swing first. When I see his tail come into frame, that's when I start my side swing. And because of that timing, I get the first bonk into the golf swing. He actually doesn't. His timing is off and he misses that first swing. So that's already a small difference between our fights, is that I get a bonk and he doesn't. His angle is also very different, which is interesting to me. You see that I fade back a lot, and I want to be like parallel with it's not parallel is not the right word, right? I want to be opposite the Kurapeko. I want to be looking straight at him for this. So I can hit the chest with confidence. Meanwhile, Kanata here is an absolute crazy person And he does his ground pound at an angle, which is crazy to me. He is much more confident than I am. And he gets a nice chest hit. His angles are so much different than mine. It's just a difference of confidence. Okay, and then I'm stood a lot further back than he is because I'm so scared of hitting this flint here. The amount of resets I've gotten from hitting the flint is way too many. I used to hit the flint all the time. So he stands like way closer to the neck than I do, or like I should say the body. He stands like way over here. Well, I tend to try and stay level with the eye when I do my golf swings. I delay my golf swing just by like half a second, just because of the way his head kind of, he reels it in towards his feet and then pushes it back out again. Where he like dips his head in and out. If his head is dipped in at the time that you golf swing, it will miss because golf swing's hitbox is awful. So I delayed by like half a second on my golf swing just to ensure that it hit. I saw that his head was dipping in. He's dipping his head in right here, so if I pulled the trigger, I would miss, so I delayed just half a second so his head would come back in straight into the golf swing. And then I readjust here because I wasn't confident. So for me, when he gets up, I run straight into the chest because I don't want to whiff anything. And that guarantees the hit on the head. Get the golf swing on the head. He does that for some reason. I get my KO straight away, which is not good. That's not what you want to see. But luckily for me, I have a low HP roll, so I get the trap anyway. You probably noticed that again, Kanata stands at a different angle to me. I'm more over here, facing my camera, more of an angle, like looking this way. He kind of stands facing the Kuropeko head on. You want to get the KO on the second golf swing, not the first, so you get maximum damage. But we both get our traps anyway. And then we both get bugs here, sort out our inventory, combine some items. Not much to say after the fight. But both of our Pekos were very standard. Yeah. He gets a sale cycle in his peddler. He gets the large barrel cycle again. So he just buys fire herbs. So this quest, this is the... I forget his name, Lugombi? Yeah, this is a Lugombi quest. Now, this quest is something I've been thinking about quite a lot. Because there's something we have to do for this quest, and that's mine Assisium. Which is Tundra only ore. And that's important because we only go to the tundra 3 times during this whole run. And the second time we go there is in 5-star. I think it's 5-star. Or it could be 4. No, it's 5-star, right? Yeah. So, the second time we go there is for Great Baggy. And that's too late. We already need our hammer upgraded by then. So we get one chance to mine a Cesium, and it's right now. And you'll see that we're mining. I do the same thing. I go to my Lagumbi. We're both mining before the quest even starts. We're both mining before the fight, which is a big time waste. We're wasting about a minute of time here, just mining before Lagumbi. And we do this simply because it's safe. If we don't get the Assisium after the quest, after we've killed Lagumbi, then we have to either do a gathering quest to get the Assisium, or we just reset. And I used to do that for a while. I used to not pre-mine. I used to just go straight to Lagumbi, do the fight, and just pray for 4 Assisium during the countdown timer for the village. And it's not safe. It's very, very inconsistent. And it would suck to have a great run up to this point and then just lose it all because you didn't mine the right ores. But for someone who's willing to do that, it's a minute time save. Almost a minute 10 seconds, I think. I have my notepad here, which notes it down. Yep, about a minute and 7 seconds. Time save if you don't mine before Lagumbi. So, if anyone wants to save a minute over Kanata, just simply not mine before Lagumbi and take the risk. I've personally been thinking about doing it. Risky, but I think that I want to start doing it again because it's a free minute. If you get the ores and you get lucky, fire and cheese on your side, there's a 3 minute of time save where you don't do anything special. So I've been thinking about risking it again, because a minute's a big deal. Very standard Lagumbi fight for Kanata. I have a very slightly different variation. The intro is basically the same. So we do the same intro. Level 2 charge on the head. So this is my slight variation, is that I throw 2 trank bombs instead of 1. Kanata throws only 1 at the bombs. He throws 1 and goes straight in. I decide to throw 2, and the reason why I throw 2 is because on this golf swing right here, if he rolls minimum HP, then I get the capture right here on that golf swing. So throwing a spare trank bomb that we weren't going to use anyway, we might as well use it as a way of accounting for a minimum HP roll. So if I get it, I save a bunch of time. If I don't get it, then it doesn't make a difference, because it's a spare track bomb anyway. That's a slight variation that I've been doing, and sometimes it saves me a good amount of time, and sometimes it doesn't. It's just a nice little extra thing to do. My fight unfortunately went terribly. But I get the capture anyway. Not a good fight from me, unfortunately. No, we're both fighting for Cesium. His menuing is always on point. It's very scary how good his menuing and village is. We both changed to chain armor here because we want the combination bonus from the armor set. We can't fail combines. Otherwise we'll be doing 95% combinations on bombs, which is not consistent. You'd think that 5% is not a lot, but in the world of Monster Hunter, 5% means that you're failing half of your combines for some reason. Yeah, one bomb combine failing could make a difference between finishing quests and needing to reset. So this is just walking to Royal Bloodwrath. Nothing interesting, skip through this. Okay, this thing. This is a very standard practice for Monster Hunter speedrunners. IL runners do it, RTA runners do it. It's very standard, there's nothing difficult about it, but the amount of times I fail it in this one spot, you would think I've never played the game before. For some reason, I just constantly fail that. So this Ludrod fight was very difficult for me to learn. Simply because of the animations that the Royal Ludroth does, the way he moves his head. It can be very tricky to land headshots on him. So he gets all of his golf swings, and so do I, but there's... Do I fail it here? Okay, no, I actually get it. I wasn't bad at the game. So the trick to this is, which is very annoying. First of all, when we get to this, there's like mud here that clearly outlines the water. That's when we unsheath. We roll forward. So when we hit his head, the way that you guarantee yourself a golf swing is that you have to delay all of your hits. You don't go 1, 2, 3, you have to go 1, 2, 3. You can see the very slight delay between my swings just so I can hit the head, because if you don't hit the head, it makes the fight so much harder when you don't get the guaranteed break. I get my KO very quickly. The KO unfortunately isn't guaranteed. You do have to improv the third hit to get the KO. I was lucky. I got a level 2 charge and got my KO very quickly. Kanata had a little bit more trouble with his. But he gets the KO in the end. Hitting the head when he's doing this, all of this wiggling, is so much more frustrating than it looks. Oh, he misses a golf swing there, which is not nice. So that's kind of a slight difference between us. Right here, when he goes into rage mode, you can see like him frothing at the mouth. The next time you hit his head, he's going to flinch. Kanata kind of just goes for it. He just goes for the attack anyway. For me personally, I take a step back and hit it with a level 2. And then I flash bomb. You can't get hit here except for one attack where he does like a belly slam and it hits you with water blight. That's the only attack he can hit you with while he's stunned. So I get a second KO here. When I get the second KO, that's when I do my pitfall trap. So Kanata's still fighting here. He gets aggroed from the small Ludroth, which sucks. Throws his flash bomb and gets it. Which, in Possible Third, that surprises me a lot because flash bombs in Possible Third basically choose when they want to work. They stand a lot closer to the head than I do. And he takes no risk, he kills the Ludroth here, which is very, it's very good, that's very disciplined. I personally would just risk it and play with the Ludroth, but I'm greedy and terrible. Was that one bomb or two? Okay, so he does one bomb. As soon as mine is stunned for the second KO, I start planting my stuff straight away because I don't want the Royal Ludroth to move. I don't want to give it any possibility that it can escape. And I put down 2 bombs because I'm scared of HP rolls. I've played enough Freedom Unite that I'm just constantly scared of HP rolls ruining my runs, so I put down 2 bombs instead. And I start doing all my combines here, which is very normal. And I sort my inventory out. Portable Third has a very nice feature where you can change the order of your combo list, which is not something Freedom Unite had. In fact, Freedom Unite didn't even have a combo list, but it is a very nice feature of Portable Third, and I'm very grateful. So now everything's in a specific order, and I can just go straight to it without thinking about it. He already has his list set, I think. Oh, I'll look at the Peddler Cycle. So we do Great Ruggy next. His menuing is too fast for me. Okay, so that's just a standard Scatterfish cycle. You'll know if it's Scatterfish simply because of 1, if it has a for sale sign here. This one doesn't, and a Scatterfish are never on sale, so if it's for sale you know that there's no Scatterfish. And then 2, if there's a Godbug down here, then you know that Scatterfish isn't on it, because Godbugs are paired with bond material in the Peddler cycle, so if you see Ivy down here, then you know that you've got a Scatterfish cycle with no for sale sign. He recognizes that, he quickly sees it, so he buys his Nitro Shrooms there, which Nitro Shrooms are always paired with Scatterfish in Peddler cycles. He's very fast at recognizing what his cycle is. So we actually do our Roggies very differently. I think this is when our time saves start to separate quite a lot. So I'm struggling to find Roggy in the menu. There it is, good job me. So for sale sign here, I see the for sale sign. Again, fire herbs and sap plants are separated on the list, which means that is a large barrel cycle. There's large barrels there, I buy 4 of them. and then I mess around in my menu a bit, get lost in the sauce. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm wasting so much time. Even in game I didn't know what I was doing. Okay. So we'll look at Kanata strat first. He misses his unsheath attack, which is unfortunate. But you'll already see his strat of doing this is basically Great Jaggy. He's just going in for a brawl, he's just scrapping. It's kind of a no strat. He just scraps, he doesn't really, you know, have a strategy for Roggy, he just fights it and hopes for the best. When you fight a monster like this, you are basically just guessing when you think it's going to be ready for a capture. And there we go, he gets captured that way. My strat is very Freedom Unite inspired. I believe in my PB, this fight went horrendously for me, if I remember right. So this log right here is where I set up. I start planting bombs. Because it'll always walk straight to you. So usually, here I would create another 2 large barrel bomb pluses. So I use 4 large barrel bomb pluses in total. But I believe I didn't have the scatterfish here. So I just use regular ones instead as a backup strat. But usually we would use barrel bomb pluses. And the fight would basically already be over. And I'm just getting bullied here. I'm trying to scrap. As a backup strat, because I had no scatterfish. I am getting destroyed. So I'm losing so much time. Simply because I didn't have my scatterfish. I was just backup stratting all of this. So mine was very messy compared to what I usually do. Let's see if I can grab the time. Oops, I had it there. Let's see if I can grab the timer here. There we go, 1:40:73. And grab Kanata's time. That's a very good feature about Portable Third, but it actually gives you quest times. (1:53:23). So despite my quest being a bit of a disaster, because I didn't have enough scatterfish to do the strat properly, I still saved 13 seconds over Kanata in this fight. Simply because I decided to use barrel bombs on it. So usually I'd save a lot more time than this. My best time for this quest is a 1:15. So usually I would save more time on this, roughly another 25 seconds more than this, but either way it's still a 13-second time save over Kanata's just fighting normally and scrapping with the monster compared to my barrel bomb strats that I did. Okay, so the next monster is Baroth, and this monster has so much history for me. Because this monster, it's another scrapping monster, where you just fight. And that's certainly what Kanata did. He does use barrel bombs, but he uses them at the end. He has a very great intro, though, to this fight. Just get past the cutscene. His intro is so clean. Straight into the KO from the cutscene. That is such a good intro. I really, really enjoy that. So he's already guaranteed himself a KO and a bunch of damage. From this point onwards, he's basically just fighting Baroth. He's scrapping. Baroth's weakness is his hands, which are very small. So usually super pounds are the way to go to be able to hit his hands consistently. Not like the butler from Scary Movie 3, I have no idea what that is referencing. Oh wait, no, I think I do know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think I know what you're on about now. Never mind. He says grab my strong hand. That was a very strange... He ran out of stamina, but that's strange. So yeah, there's really not much to say because he's just fighting. This is the, like, one of the more vanilla fights in the run. It's just scrap. Here we go, now he's finally planting his bombs. He gets so lucky here. He manages to get away, and you'll be able to hear it. It breaks his leg, and then he gets put in the trap. You'll be able to hear the shiny dropping. So he throws his 2 tranks. And he gets the capture. He doesn't blow himself up there because he used the small barrel bomb second, which takes priority in terms of damaging him. It blows up first, so he doesn't explode and potentially ruin the run. But yeah, that was a big scrap. Oh my goodness. Okay, so my bar fight doesn't even start yet because I'm doing peddler cycles. How much time do I lose on this? Wow, I lose like 3 minutes. I lose about 3 minutes just recycling the peddler because I didn't get scatterfish. Oh, there you go again. There we go, I finally get scatterfish. So I hate the peddler, he ruins the game. And I'm just trying to recover the run. I wanted to reset at this point, but I got yelled at for resetting too much, so I didn't reset even though I wanted to. Like, I wasted 4 minutes on peddler, so I'm only going now because usually this run would be reset, but I'm doing it just so I can finish a run, because my previous PB was 225, which is, not great. And you can see on the splits it says, like, minus 12 minutes, which is just very fake splits. It looks fake every time I would split, but yeah, that's what happens when you have a run that's over a year old. So I was happy to finally get a PV and have different splits. So my Baroth run, we've seen Kanata's Baroth strat of just scrapping and fighting. My Baroth strat is very different. Mine's more like a strat instead of more like a brawl. This strat was not made by me though. It starts with a flash bomb. So already it's completely different. We don't go for the guaranteed KO. This strat was made by Freedom RP, who is a Freedom 2 speedrunner, currently has the Freedom 2 world record, and he made this strat. He doesn't play this game, by the way. He doesn't play Portable Third, but he spent a night to make a strat for me, and this is what he came up with. So he rolls... There's so much to talk about with this strat. So he rolls at a specific point. He said to me that we roll when we get to the tail. I find it easier to use this bit of mud, this white bit of mud here. I find it easier to roll at the mud. So we roll, and then we turn to the left before we place our trap, which is surprisingly very important. We place our trap, and then we roll forward once again to place 2 of our bombs. We make another 2. And then this is where many times where the strat would go completely downhill is getting the KO. We now have to KO him, which is so precise. But I do get it. I managed to get it. It's extremely precise and annoying. Now we use a super pound to blow up the bombs. You'll notice that he fell down on the KO. Just before the trap, so he doesn't land straight into it. And the bombs are set up so we can super pound his hands and the bombs at the same time. Now he stood directly behind the trap, or in front of the trap even. So all we need to do now is get a flinch after he's in the trap. There we go, get our flinch, and now he's set up into the trap. It's so precise, it's extremely shocking that this was made by someone who doesn't even play the game. So usually, if the strat goes well, we would KO him basically at this point. I did get bothered though. I got very harassed, yeah, by these annoying little spawns of Satan. So usually he would be KO'd here, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get it, so I had to improvise and back up strat a little bit. So this is where the strat started to fall apart a little bit. Got a head break there. I'm just doing level 2s because level 2 swings do a lot of KO damage, and they're easier to hit since you swing upwards towards the head. So that's just what I'm trying to do here. There we go, I finally get the KO. And then I do a charge on his hands as just a bonus little bit of damage. I'm very slow planting these bombs. So I decided to pull the trigger here. I place a shock trap. The pitfall trap would be safer because he spends more time in a pitfall trap than a shock trap. And right there, we hit the hands and we managed to get the capture. It was very close. Just after the golf swing, he will break out of the trap, unless he's exhausted. But most of the time at this point, he's enraged, so he breaks out of the trap very quickly. So it wasn't perfect, but it was still, I would say, a very clean strat. Again, made by Freedom RP. I don't know where he comes up with this stuff, but yeah, that is, it's a very good strat, and I'm glad to have that because I struggled a lot with this monster because I just wasn't able to scrap with it as well as Kanata does. Kanata just straight up plays Monster Hunter when he fights this monster. I come from Freedom Unite where we cheese every single monster, so I'm not at that level of Mega Brain like Kanata is. I prefer to just use bombs and cheese everything. So to be able to have a bit of a strat like that is very useful for someone like me. Skip ahead to the next monster. Oh, I've gone way too far. Okay, so this is our next urgent, which is Rathian. If Baroth is a run killer, then Rathian is Baroth's big sister, because she is also a massive run killer. She's just such a troublesome monster to deal with. Very nice interest there with the Super Pound. You can see Flash in the midair, which sets it to the floor. It's the KO, which her head is so much harder to hit than it looks because of the way she wiggles around. And the hammer's terrible hitboxes, you whiff so much on her head. Using her rage to put away his weapon. Straight back to the floor again with the flash. When the Rathian rages, you'll see that she does this. She like flies backwards. She'll always do that after a rage, so as long as your weapon is away, which we use her rage animation to stagger us and put our weapons away, you can get a guaranteed dunk with the flash bomb, which is very nice. Again, we just struggle to hit the head, hit it where we can. Rathian in Portable Third, I couldn't hate it anymore, simply because of what she just did. Right, her tail swings in Portable Third. Rathian tail swings in Portable Third are just so annoying. They are like Beyblades. When they get the chance to swing, they will always tail swing. I don't know why. It's like they intentionally programmed monsters to tail swing whenever you're like within an inch of range of them, and it is so frustrating. They will tail swing at everything. Even if you're not close to them, they will tail swing. I don't know what this spaghetti was, but he just backflipped his own Super Pound. The tail swings make me so upset every time I see them. He played that so safe. He just does the one hit and gets out of there. If it was me, I'm greeting. I'm greeting for the golf swing every single time, but then that's why I get tail swinged, so... Misses at level 2, but he gets a godsend because she decides to backflip. He does level 2s because it's got higher KO damage than Super Pounds. He sets up his bombs, does a shock trap. And he gets the capture. His fight is it's annoyingly clean. I'll just say that. It's so frustratingly clean how this fight is for him. I used to try and fight it like him, But in the end, I just decided that the monster RNG in this game is too much for me to handle. She could just tail swing for days, and you just lose too much time on this fight. So that's when the Freedom Unite brain comes on, and I try and make strats to attempt to cheese the monster, because of course I do. Did I kill that cat? Oh, the cat stole my large barrel. My run is a mess. I'll just say that much. So I think I actually died to Raffian here, but I'm sure I can still explain the strat either way. So there are so many variations of Raffian strats that I've made, and so has Freedom RP. He has also tried to attempt to help with this monster because she is just unhinged. So we walk around the pillar here, and we place a shock trap. This is a variation that I made because I wanted to get the KO as fast as possible. She goes for a tail swing frame 1, it's so upsetting. And then she fireballs, she's wasting my time. There you go, she finally charges at me. So I just want to get the KO as soon as I possibly can, so then we can start like chaining her into like staggers and drops with flash bombs. We want her to move as little as possible. 2 golf swings on the head, that one misses. I go for a level 2 charge before she gets angry. Same thing as Kanata here, we use the flinch and then flash bomb to dunk her, which is another free golf swing. And then I start charging for a golf swing, because, not golf swing, sorry, super pound, because it guarantees a stagger. I made a mistake. So the first hit you do after she gets back up is going to make her stagger. I was supposed to hit her with the super pound, but I hit her with the initial hit, which is, it doesn't do much damage at all. And then because of the flinch, she dodges the main hit, which is my mistake. I think I was just too in the moment, too nervous to like think about spacing my golf swing. Not golf swing, I keep getting words mixed up. My super pound. So I do an extra super pound and then I run away because her flash is about to be up. We reflash her. So now I'm just doing super pounds and missing. I'm basically just desperate for the KO. I want a second KO because when you get the second KO, that's about the same time that you can capture her. It's a good indicator, using the second KO to know when she's capturable, which works on all HP rolls. It's not HP roll specific, thankfully. So there's my second KO. I'm spaghettiing my menu in here. Oh, I actually didn't die on Raffian, okay. So my Raffian was quite clean. I thought I died on her for some reason. I'd used so many runs that they all kind of just blur together and I forget what I've done. So that Raffian was quite clean. That was very nice. So as you can see, there's like... It's still a scrap, it's still a bit of a brawl, but... You'll see how I try to make it so she has less freedom of movement as possible. I always want her flashed, I always want her KO'd, so there's some level of predictability to what she does. Of course, when she's flashed, she could just tail swing like 6 times in a row and then waste your flash bomb, which sometimes happens, because this game is very unforgiving for some reason. So besides missing some hits here and there, I would say this was pretty good. I don't know what she's doing. I missed that golf swing, that was very sad. I could have delayed it. Delayed the third hit and got the golf swing. Right now she's not flashed. I just reflash her, I don't want her moving. because once she starts moving, she starts causing trouble. So as soon as I get the second KO, I know that it's time to set up Pitfall Trap. I use a Pitfall Trap instead of a Shock Trap because she'll stay in the Shock Trap. No, sorry, she'll stay in the Pitfall Trap longer. So even if those bombs don't capture her, you can still do a golf swing afterwards to attempt to get the capture. But it is difficult because she waves her head around a lot when she's in a Pitfall Trap. But it's a little bit precise, but it does help. So it's like a small backup strat to get a golf swing on the head if the bombs don't capture her. So that was a lot cleaner than what it usually is. Usually my Raffians are complete disasters. Kanata's just chilling in the cave. Something I should mention actually. He's still in chainmail. He's still in chain armor. I personally, after Raffian, I go to Hunter's armor. I'm buying Hunter's armor now. So Hunter's armor has this skill which allows you to set up traps and bombs faster. It's super fast, so we use Hunter's armor later on. We have to wait until this point in the game because we don't get combo book free until after Raffian. And we need combo book free because otherwise Hunter's armor without combo book free would mean our combines are very low. I think it's like 70, maybe 50, 85% for a bomb combine without combo book free. So that's why we wait until Raffian to get Hunter's armor. So I get mine straight away because I want the faster traps and faster bombs against Ulfadon, which is the next monster. I accidentally pressed the arrow. Here we go. I'll go to the beginning here. Right, so Ulfadon. This monster sucks. This head right here is so tiny. The hurt box for this head, especially for Hammer, which already has terrible hitboxes, his head is just so tiny. It's so hard to hit with the hammer. This monster is just such a... It feels like RNG. It's not, but it definitely feels like it. Look at that goal swing. That was not a head hit. It goes straight through his skull and it doesn't count as a head hit. This game's hitboxes are an absolute disaster. That makes me upset every time I watch it. Portable Third Hammer is such a disaster. He finally gets a head hit there. So he's now raged, and he runs away to place his trap. He gets so lucky here. He gets so lucky here. The first time I saw this, I was like, so annoyed how lucky he got. I think that roll was frame perfect. To not get hit by that paralyze right there. So he sets up his bombs, which I'm very confused about his bomb placement. It's extreme. I think it's like one of the riskiest things he's done in this entire run. Because if the Volvodon spits more paralyze, it blows up the bombs because it counts as a projectile. So, him placing those bombs there, that is very confusing and risky to me. He does one trank, and look at all these hits that are not head hits. There we go, he finally gets his head hit, which is the KO. Throws his other trank bomb, and that is the end of the quest. And my Volvodon is quite a bit different. I did a very Freedom Unite inspired Volvodon. So we'll go back to his intro actually, we'll go back to see his intro. So his intro is a shock trap intro, which is, it makes a lot of sense because he wants to do hammer hits. I, however, opt to do a bomb intro. So every monster, when they first see you, they're gonna do their little taunt, gonna roar at you, whatever they like to do. So he's just gonna do this. So while he's doing that, my bombs are being set up to explode. And while they're exploding, I'm gonna plant this pitfall trap behind him, and I'm gonna stagger him into it. I spaghetti my menu in a bit, but... So I go from bombs into trap into more bombs. I throw one trank bomb to blow up the bombs and store a bit of sleep. I wouldn't know what you would call it, like a hidden number for trank. But he's partially slept. I don't even know what you would call it, but... Then I start going for head hits here, and I am struggling because his head is tiny. I do a level 2, manage to hit the head, and I do get the KO here. So then I go for the next trank bomb, and that manages to get the trank status. There, yeah, that's a good... Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so, So, the bombs, so I throw the trank bomb at the bombs to not only detonate them, but to build up trank status, which doesn't happen in Freedom Unite. Portable Third and Freedom Unite are unique in the way that their sleeping status works. So with Portable Third, you can store. You can store trank status. So even if a monster is not ready to sleep yet, you can still apply trank status to them. So that when they are ready to sleep, if they're at 100 out of 100 trank status, they'll be captured, they'll go to sleep. Freedom Unite doesn't store trank status the same way, because the monster needs to be capturable, its HP needs to be low enough for trank status to be applied to the monster. So you can't just pre-trank a monster in Freedom Unite, you have to throw the tranks when the monster is ready. So that's a really good quality of life for Portable Third. If I get to throw a trank bomb right now, and it will still count, it'll still be stored. So I can just throw a singular one later on instead of needing to throw 2 when it's ready. Yeah, his head is just so tiny and difficult to hit with the hammer. So there's my second trank, and I just go for more head hits. I believe this was a low HP roll. It looked a bit quick to me, but I don't think it would have made much of a difference either way. So there's quite a big difference between my strat and Kanata's strat. There's a huge difference. He goes for a trap intro with head hits. Oh my goodness, this sucks. Oh, this game is so bad. This game's hammer hitboxes make me so upset. Straight over the head, hit the neck. Yeah, hammer makes me so upset in Portable Third. So he doesn't do bomb setups like I do, he kind of risks it, gets that frame perfect roll right there. Extremely lucky, I'll never forgive him for this. Sets up some very risky bombs in my opinion. Luckily his Volvodon just rolls straight into them. He does the exact same thing as me, or in fact I do the exact same thing as him, since his run is a lot sooner than mine. It's the detonation with the Trank Bombs into the KO. So our ending is the same, but the way we get to our endings is different, which... Let me get the timer for both these monsters. He just idles in the area, which is fine for him. 131, so what am I doing? For me, I personally start gathering for stones. Oh, do I? No, looks like I'm going for Thunderbugs instead. Yeah, so I'm gathering for Thunderbugs during the downtime instead of standing there. Let's see what my timer's at. Oops. Okay, so 107. 131 compared to 107. That's a big difference. That's a very, very nice difference between our two strats. Big time save for me. That might have been actually a PB for Volvodon for me personally. 107 is pretty good. Oh no, it's not a PB. My PB for Volvodon is 103. But still, 107 is a very nice time save. So I'll go back to Kanata here. So he's now switched to Hunter's Armor. I did mine earlier, he does his after Volvodon. I preferred to do mine before, because the bonus speed for traps and bombs with this armor set is required for my strat compared to his, where he doesn't need the quick bomb placements, but I do. It doesn't make a difference if you buy it before or after, depending on your strat. It's just personal preference on what strat you're doing. But it doesn't make a huge difference in terms of like money or wasting time buying it earlier. You're going to be buying it anyway because it's required for later on. So Great Baggy, there's a decent amount to think about for Great Baggy. So we both do bomb intro. He does this slightly differently because he's more of a confident player than I am. He does large barrel, small barrel, large barrel. Which... He does this, which is... He's insane for doing this sort of thing. So he gets shoulder charged. And then he does small barrel, big barrel. That is such a risky strat. He's crazy for that. But now both the small great baggies, now both the small baggies are dead. He doesn't have to worry about his bombs getting spit on and then blowing him up, which I think happened to me. So he shock traps here, does 1 bomb, 2 bomb. Now he's doing large barrel bombs. He doesn't get the capture, so he has to reset. He is spaghettiing a bit here. I think he expected the Great Baggy to be captured, but he didn't get it, so bit of spaghetti here. But he does get it in the end. So for Great Baggy, I discovered something while doing a lot of testing, which is very, very nice. It makes this fight so much smoother and more calculated. So we do these bombs. He staggers back, which is normal. So you'll see that he looks at Kanata. And he starts attacking straight away. So I've noticed that depending on the HP roll of the Great Baggy, he's either going to look at you and start fighting again, or he's going to go into rage mode. If I remember, I didn't note this down unfortunately, I should have. But if I remember this correctly, if he has a low HP roll, he's going to go straight into rage. If he doesn't have a low HP roll, he's going to continue fighting. So we can watch what he does here after the initial stagger of the first 2 bombs and see what HP roll he's at. So he staggers but continues fighting. Let's see if mine is any different. You'll notice that Kanata runs backwards also after his bombs. I tend to run through the Great Baggy because I want to be behind him. I think it's just safer that way. So I run through. So the bombs go off. I get garbage, very upsetting. Right, so here mine goes into rage, which is different from Kanata. So depending on HP rolls, we either get the rage, which I did, or he'll continue to fight like he did with Kanata. However, there is something that you can do. If he doesn't rage, like with Kanata's Great Baggy, you can actually just hit him. An unsheath attack with a hammer, no matter the HP roll, will send him straight into rage. So if he doesn't rage, you just do a quick unsheath attack, he'll go straight into rage, and then you can continue to bomb him like normal. So that was a very good find for me. So you can kind of, as you can see, mine went into rage, so I just went straight for more bombs. And then my bombs got spat on by this little monster over here. He ran past there. You'll see his head pop into frame. And I'm dead. This little hero right here saved the Great Baggy's life. And I'm dead. That is so frustrating to happen, but what can you do? So unfortunately, I died on my Great Baggy. But just to explain what would happen if I didn't die. So we get these 2 bombs, and then we set a pitfall trap, and then we do another 2 bombs, so that's 6 plus bombs in total. And if that doesn't capture him, then we can just do a golf swing to the head, and then that captures every time, no matter the HP roll. But if you get a low HP roll, I believe the 6 bombs are good enough, and you don't have to do the golf swing. Unfortunately, this Superman over here decided that he's had enough, and he built the bombs. I wanted to reset at this point so badly, but I was so far into the run that I decided to keep going. So I tried to continue the strat as normal. Pitfall trap. 2 bombs. I actually get killed again. That's so upsetting. I cannot believe that happened twice to me. This little hero right here spits on the bombs for a 2nd time and kills me. I actually could have dodged here. If I saw it coming, I could have dived and lived, but I didn't see it coming. And I die for a 2nd time. So I shock trap. And then I finally get my capture. That is an incredibly spaghetti quest. Kanata's may have been major spaghetti, but at least he didn't die twice like I did. Yeah, but his strat is just... it's very messy. But it... oh, he actually missed those. I didn't notice that. Okay. So he actually missed these 2 bombs, which is pretty bad, because bombs are expensive. Yeah, he missed. He jumped back and missed. He was probably very... Oh my goodness. He was probably very frustrated when this happened. Runner of all hats is streaming. Thank you, Banies, for the 22 months. Oh my goodness, I can't read what that says. I know what it says though. It says like congratulations on the affiliate thing, right? In German. I would try and pronounce that, but I feel like I would just offend everyone who speaks German. So I'm just gonna say thank you. Thank you for the 22 months, Baners. So yeah, so 2 of his bombs missed. He doesn't get the capture here. We both had major spaghetti in our great baggies. Party heads on for celebration via affiliate day. So let's look at the time differences actually. Oops. Oh, I had it. Come back. 123, so what's my spaghetti looking like? Is it overcooked? 212. Oh my goodness. Yeah, mine was an absolute disaster. 123 versus 212. So, if my strat went correctly, and I didn't die twice, my PB for Great Baggy is 46 seconds. So 123 versus 46 seconds, which is my Great Baggy PB. That's what could have been. It could have been a huge time save. Unfortunately, I didn't live in that world where I got the time save. It is what it is. Very sad. Shed a tear. Hello, Frenchie. Yes, I'm talking about spaghetti. Nibble Snap, this thing is crazy. He's just, buying stuff, I see. Okay, so next monster is Nibble Snap, and for the longest time, for like, ever since I've been running this game, like, I've been running this game for... Oh my goodness, how long have I been running this game for? Like, almost 2 years, I think, I've been speedrunning this game. For about a year and a half, I had never gotten a faster time than Kanata on Nibble Snap. His time in this world record is a 1:30.93. And I think my PB was always like a 1:32. Until a couple of months ago where I finally got a Nibble Snap PB, which is 1:20. So my PB is faster by 10 seconds, but it took me a year and a half to finally get there. This monster is just bombs, mostly, unless you need to back up strat with a hammer, which hopefully that doesn't happen, but this monster is just mostly bombs. Something that's super annoying. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to get him to see you here. This spot right here, like 70% of the time for me personally, he just ignores me and swims away. But sometimes he'll spot you, and sometimes he doesn't. I don't understand why it does this, and it's very frustrating. But this strat is basically just... we're flinch locking him, basically. When you bomb him, he gets flinched, He lays on the sand with his mouth open. And we try to time our bombs so that he resets. And he went under the sand this time. So, for the locking, it does have a specific timing. The first one's always guaranteed when he swims up to you. So, for the first lock, as soon as you see him reset to go back to his regular animation, that's when you want to put down the small barrel bomb. You can't flinch him again until he's like... You see the way he like dips back into the sand and then comes back up? Like here? You can't flinch him again until he goes back to the state. If you bomb too early, he's just going to ignore it. He'll still take the damage, but he can't be flinched again until he goes back to neutral. So he gets the lock this time. And you'll notice, I don't know if I'll be able to capture it, like frame by frame. Oh, there we go. I don't know if you're able to see this, but there's a slight bit of steam here. He's in rage mode right now. I don't know if you can see the steam right here in front of the map. So he's in rage mode. And so when he's in rage mode, his timing is slightly different. He'll make like these grunting noises. I believe after the third one, that's when you want to plant the bomb, so it's slightly different timing. Kanata does his a little bit too late. So once he's doing this animation where he's going under the sand, you can't lock him anymore. It's kind of like in Freedom Unite, when a Diablos is digging under the sand, you can't kill him. It's basically the same thing. Once he starts going under the sand, you can't flinch him anymore, he's locked in. So if you're too late on the lock, he's gonna dig under. Which he does, but you get sonic bombs in the box as a supply material, so we can bring him back up. And then we try to bomb and put him back into the lock when we can. So here Kanata's just trying to lock him back in. He throws a trank bomb here. And he's setting up for a shock trap. He takes damage and almost dies, but he does get the shock trap. And he manages to get the capture. This is so extremely lucky. And I'm not saying that out of salt, which I am saying that out of salt, but you'll see here in his inventory. There we go. He still has 2 barrel bomb pluses left, which means this was a low HP roll. He managed to capture on a low HP roll. If he didn't get this capture, then he would need to reset, get another 2 bomb explosions, then replant the shock trap. But he managed to guess right, and he got the low HP roll and got the capture. It is so extremely lucky, but it annoys me, but he got it. And that's why I've never, well, not never, recently I have, but it took me a year and a half to beat his PB on this monster because of that reason. He got the lucky low HP roll guess, and I have been salty ever since. However, a couple of months ago, I did make a Nibble Snap strat of my own. I used to follow his strat, but I determined it to be too luck-based. So I developed a strat of my own which includes fishing. I'm sure people who know this game know that you can fish the Nibble Snaff when you flinch him out of the sand. So I decided, is it useful to fish him? And it is. I decided to make a strat that uses fishing. So same intro. See actually here. I do a roll because I'm just so paranoid about him not seeing me. But I decided to start rolling. to maybe help with him seeing me earlier and getting the aggro. So we do the flinch intro. And I set up for the reset. Oh no, I don't Okay. I thought I did a reset, but apparently I don't do a reset anymore. I don't remember my own strats, apparently. It's been a very long time. So, if you're doing a reset, like I said, you wait for his animation to reset before you plant the bomb. So then you can flinch him again. I do mine straight away. The significance of this is that it breaks the tonsil. And when you break the tonsil, it puts him into this stance here, which is how you would fish him. So I set 2 bombs, plant them, and now I go for the fish, and you can see on my controller I am mashing for the heavens. And I'm mashing for Valhalla. So I get the fish, I start planting more bombs. So now, like, at this point I'm not worrying about him digging under the sand and ruining my resets. I don't have to worry about him ruining the resets and then I need to sonic bomb him and stuff like that, because I've managed to fish him and now he's stuck there. So another 2 bombs. I do another 2 bombs. I'm very confident, apparently. So he'll always dig under the sand after you fish him up. But you can predict where he's going to go, it's just slightly in front of him. If you've ever played Freedom Unite, like a Cephalos, when they go under the sand to blast some sand at you, it's kind of like the same distance, where they dig under and then come back up. It does the same distance, so if you just shock trap ahead of him, he appears up next to it. I unfortunately missed, that's just me being bad at the game. But I think he swims into it and I get lucky. Oh, what a disaster. Okay, so mine's an absolute disaster. But usually he would be in that trap, and then we can just bomb again, capture him, and we're done. And then you have Crimson subscribing for 29 months and saying, imagine subscribing to Rosianna at twitch.tv/Rosianna. I also imagine such a thing, and I can't imagine why you would do that, but thank you. What am I doing? Right, why am I being stupid? But thank you, Crimson. I appreciate it. I get slam dunked, I get swanton bombed, and I just go for the capture here. I question myself with my strats a lot. I question why I do things. Right here, I question what I'm doing. So, I could just throw the trank bombs from here, but I decide, nope, I need to get up close and personal with his face, and then throw the trank bombs. I want to make sure he can taste the trank. So I get the capture. So that's the difference between Kanata strat, which I used to follow, and my new strat, which includes fishing. And that's the only fishing strat you will see over at Rosianna, twitch.tv/Rosianna. And I'm throwing sonic bombs out of frustration. So at this point I'm very frustrated because my run has been a complete disaster and I'm only continuing the run because I was getting yelled at for resetting. Also, if you're wondering what this timer is down here above the controller, this was a 24-hour stream I was doing, so that's why I have this extra timer down here. It was a 24-hour stream and I managed to get a PB during it. How nice for me. So that's our nibble snaps. I hate this monster, this just sucks. But moving on to... Oh boy, this quest is rough. Next up is... Alright, some people say Giganox, I think? Like Jiggy, like Banjo-Kazooie Jiggies, and some people say Giganox. People are very split on their pronunciations, like Tigrex and Tigrex. I'm just gonna say Giganox, so put up with that, I'm sorry. Right, what's Kanata doing? Right, so Kanata's strat, it's very unga bunga. The intro is actually decent, the intro is very good. So, 2 bomb pluses. It hits the wing and guarantees a flinch. And then from here, it's just complete bombing where he needs to bomb, and Unga Bunga just throw bombs at you sort of strat. So Giganox here, he's not flashed. You can't flash him. He's not KO'd. He's just free to move wherever he wants. So Kanata is just gambling on all of these bombs. He could jump up to the ceiling right now. He just Unga Bungas all of these bombs. It's so insane to me that he did this so far into a run. He finally sets up a trap to get some consistency. Giganox walks straight into it. He's doing these single bombs, which I'm not really sure what's going on. So he does a double. And then he does a single here. I can only assume that he wasn't confident on when the Giganox was going to break out of the trap, and that's why he did a single. So he does a single, and then he thinks, oh, I've got enough time, so I'll do another single. In fact, he does a double there, that's very confident. He goes from no confidence to pure confidence. So he just spaces himself from Giganox, he sets another trap. Giganox jumps straight into his loving arms. So, Giganox is just shooting projectiles, and that's what I don't like about this strat. The very random nature and just unga bunga of it is why I don't like this strat. Like, you can't predict this happening, or you could just sit and camp on the ceiling for a while. I really don't like that. And then he does a suicide bomb to end the quest, which we always love those. We love a good suicide bomb to complete the quest. But the random nature of time waste of just him spitting poison at you is why I don't like this at all. Which is why I try to make a strat of my own, maybe get some consistency in. My strat is not perfect though, but it works for me for now. I would like to have a better strat in the future, but it is a bit difficult. Giganox is hard to work with. So he ends the quest with a nice suicide bomb. Very, very clean, pristine. See how my Giganox went. Probably poorly, but we'll see. Thanks, Ben. I don't know when affiliate party thing happened, but yeah, that's apparently a thing on Twitch now. So my strat for Giganox, I run to this, there's like a rock here. I don't know if the quality lets you see the rock properly. Maybe if I go back a little bit. Yeah, you can kind of see the rock. So I run up to this rock here, and I go to the corner. So I start planting on the corner, and I turn away from him. It's weirdly important that you turn your back to the Giganox. So I turn my back to him when I plant, and I take a few steps away from the bomb. If you don't take these steps, he actually hits you. You'll see that he kind of just nudges into me and he doesn't hit me. But when you step away, his hitbox is for some reason just non-existent and you don't get hit. So that allows me to get this bomb. So I plant a shock trap straight away on my flinch because I don't want him to move. I don't want him to jump to the ceiling or spit poison everywhere. So I go for the shock trap. I get garbage from my bombs, which upsets me. So while I'm combining, I walk to the front of him. I walk to the front of his head because I can't plant them here because I'm in the way. Because I want to plant a trap here afterwards. So if I just bomb at his feet where I set the trap, I'm just going to blow myself up. So I walk to the front while I'm combining. I set my bombs here. While combining as I walk to the back. So he's going to rage. So I was too slow here, unfortunately. If you're quick enough, you can get the pitfall trap out and onto the floor before he rages. So the trap would be setting up right now. But I don't get it. And I tried to set up afterwards, and he goes straight to the ceiling. Which, again, that's exactly why I try to do this strat of spamming traps, because I don't want him to do things like jump to the ceiling. He jumps on me, very unlucky for me. And now I just need to find some space where I can plant my trap in peace. He's on the ceiling again. And this is all because I was too slow on my initial pitfall trap, and all of this time loss that happens. So this is why Giganox is just like a very uncomfortable monster to do, because he's just so unpredictable. So I do more bombs here. I was quite slow on these bombs, but I wanted to be very careful. I was quite scared. Set up another pitfall trap because I'm planning on this being the last one. Usually you can do about 8 bombs, 8 to 10 bombs, and usually it would work depending on HP rolls. Of course, it's just safer to do the maximum because you don't want to have to account for HP rolls. You don't want to be the person who gets a high HP roll and then you've trapped him too early. So right now he's just doing acrobatics, playing around, spitting poison, wasting lots of time. Set up my first trank. I think do I suicide strat? No, I play it very safe. So I could have suicide stratted. I hit the first trank. 2 bombs, switch to trank right here, hit him. The bombs go off, his trank goes off at the same time. He gets put in the trap and goes to sleep. I played it very safe. And I decided to use a small barrel bomb to get away instead, but small time loss because I was scared, but it is what it is, it's not a huge deal. The huge deal was me missing the initial what's it called again? Pitfall, yeah. The initial pitfall trap. So that's it, that is the last quest before Zinogre. And I am at a time of 1:28, and Kanata is at a time of 1:21. So I lost 7 minutes up to this point on this run. So now we both have to fight Zinogre, and my Zinogre was an absolute disaster. I could have gotten like a sub 135, maybe sub 133 on this run if my Zinogre went as planned. Yeah, like a sub 133 was possible for this run if I had a good Zinogre, but unfortunately not. My Zinogre was very bad. So we're gonna watch a decent Zinogre instead. We're gonna watch Kanata's Zinogre. So we have the same intro. We both do hammer intro. He actually misses his initial golf swing. So the strength of this intro is that we get an initial golf swing on the head, which is very important because we want to get a quick KO on this guy as fast as we can because we want to break him out of aura so that we can shock trap him. You can't shock trap him when he's in aura, so that's what we want to do. Let's go to my Zenoga. You also see that we took a different path. So see the Taffa, he takes a more direct path to the Zenoga. And he waits till he gets to this plant before doing his sheath attack. Then he goes into a side swipe to get the shortcut to the golf swing, but he is a little bit too slow. So he gets roared. For me personally, I get to these mushrooms, I do an unsheath roll, and then when I pass this plant, that's when I start doing my pounds. And there we go, I get the initial golf swing. I found it more consistent to do it my way. I just like visually being able to see a setup, so sheath attack at the mushrooms, roll forward. When you pass the plant, you start doing the golf swing setup. And I find that it usually works most of the time, like 80% of the time it works. So that's very good. And I'm not even sure like how Kanata has the confidence to do what he did. He kind of just runs at him. He still sets up at the plant, but his positioning is just very spooky for me. So, moving on to the actual fight itself. This fight's scary. Zenoga in Portable Third is so much scarier than other games. He's an absolute beast. So our main setup here, which happened straight away for Kanata. These slams he does with his paws. He does a triple slam with his paws. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. And you'll see, he's right there. You would think like, wow, how did Kanata not get hit? The hitbox is actually very strange for this, so... This is our main damage setup for the head. So we go 1, 2. He does 1, we walk away. For his second hit, we roll away, because if we don't roll, we get slapped. And then for the third hit, you can just hold straight left. You don't have to roll, you don't have to dodge backwards or anything, you can just hold straight left. And then that's when you set up your golf swing. And it's a guaranteed head hit. It's very, very good. Kanata here goes for another golf swing, he greets it, manages to dodge the bite, which is very good. Unsheath attacks here, he gets the taunt, which doesn't happen very often. Misses the golf swing unfortunately. So these like thunderballs here, you can roll through them pretty easily, but something that's interesting about these is that they won't trigger bombs. So if you plant bombs, you don't have to worry about Zenoga triggering them, because these do not hit bombs, which I would assume means that they don't count as a projectile, and they're classed as something else. But that's a very strange little thing about Zenoga. But it's a good attack for us because it opens him up. It allows us to hit the head when he does that, because we can just roll straight through. Gets the KO, and his head is harder to hit than it looks when he's on the floor. He gets a lot of damage, which is very good. Rolls through the tail there, very good. Also guarantees a head hit if you're in the right position. This was very greedy by Kanata. So, as I mentioned, the triple paw slam, that's our perfect setup for a head hit. He greeded for the super pound here, which was... and he gets hit for it. I'm not sure why he committed to this. As soon as he saw the first slam, he should have rolled here. What I would have done is rolled to cancel my super pound. I would roll forward, and then from here I can just walk left to dodge the third paw, and then set up for a golf swing. He, for some reason, decided to commit to this charge, and he gets hit for it. I'm not really sure what the idea there was. But he gets another taunt. He doesn't commit to the golf swing, which is a good idea. And this is a terrible position to be in. He's got Aura and Rage, which is very unfortunate. That is a very deadly combo for Zinogre. He's extremely fast and he does a ton of damage to us people who are just wearing Hunter's armor. So he decides to set up traps and bombs and bomb him instead. Because he probably doesn't want to deal with Rage and Aura together, which is understandable. He misses that golf swing, that is very unlucky. But again, hammer hitboxes in Portable Third are just so pathetic. There's no other choice of words I can say, it's just straight up pathetic how bad the hitboxes for hammer are. So he sets up another shock trap with bombs, because again, Zinogre can't trigger bombs, so it's very safe. Goes for another Trank Bomb here. And that's what he wanted. He wanted the KO inside of the trap. So he finally gets it. Just more bombing. And Zinogre breaks out. He does these standing bombs, which are very risky in my opinion, but he has the confidence to do them. It's very good. He finally breaks Aura. So now we can use shock traps on him. Which is kind of like the goal for this quest at the beginning, is you want to break Aura as fast as possible so you can start using shock traps. He actually heals here, uses potions, which is probably something I could learn from, because I die to this monster way too much. So Kanata decides he's had enough, and he just sets up for bombs and traps. And he wants to end the quest. And he gets the capture. So overall, it wasn't the best fight he could have gotten. It was sloppy at times, but it did the job. His time on Zinogre was a 4 minute 12 seconds. And my PB for Zinogre is 3 minutes 2 seconds. So there's a potential 1 minute 10 second time save for this monster. For my PB, I wasn't even close. I died several times to this guy. So we'll see how my fight went. So already he's doing these jumps, which we can't really punish properly. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I do that for some reason. I think at this point I was just super nervous because I would finally get a PB. Roll through that and we get ourselves some free hits. Or just one if you miss. So I'm just waiting for the paw slams. Oh, I finally get it. Yeah, for the third slam you can just walk to the left and you get that nice head hit. I managed to dodge the bite, which usually I don't. That was a good play by me. That was very unfortunate. I ran out of space and I walked into the invisible wall and I got slapped for it. He does slams again. And And at that point I just start panic rolling out because I couldn't risk getting hit again. I get my KO. And I missed the head there. But I do get it there. If I start setting my trap now, I think I was just too worried to start. I was too worried to continue the fight, so I decided to set up my trap now and start doing bombs because I didn't feel confident enough to keep fighting him. In my current state, I was mid HP. It's not a lot. Against Zenoga, he will still one-shot you. He's very strong in this game. He jumps over my trap. He gets captured again, so I'm just doing some more bombs. I think at this point I would be pretty worried at the fact that I haven't broken aura. I'm not sure if that bomb hit. Let me take a look. Let's see if I can take a look at it, if that bomb hit or not. It's very hard to see through the grass, so I'm not sure if that bomb hit or not. I'm trying to look at his paw to see if there's any smoke on the paw. It's hard to see. I'm not sure if that bomb hit or not. It looks like it missed though. You don't see any smoke on the paw after he jumps away. So now he's enraged and in aura, so that's just an absolute disaster for me. This is not a situation you want to be in. So now I'm just like panic hitting him, trying to break aura. I managed to roll through that, that would have been death 50 times over. So I break aura, I'm relieved. Aura is now over and I can use shock traps. Without aura, he only does 2 pulse slams. If you're quick enough, you can get 6 bombs down here in this shock trap because it's a very long animation. You wouldn't think that shock traps would be any good against Zenoga, but they're very good. It's a long animation for him to be stuck in a trap. Fortunately for me, he runs away here. It's not what you want. You don't want him to run away because this area is filled with Bullfango. And this area is where my fight just went completely downhill. I get hit by a Bullfango. He gets aura back up. Yeah, this is where things go downhill and become an absolute disaster for me. I throw tranks here, so I'm going to assume I didn't have any more bombs if I'm trying to trank him that early. That did seem a bit early to me, but maybe I was just desperate for the capture. I see a bomb in my inventory, but I can't tell which one it is. So I don't get the capture. So I just go for head hits. I whiff everything. Oh yeah, this is spaghetti everywhere, all over the kitchen. I think at this point I was just so extremely nervous because I was finally, like, PB pace. It'd been like a year and a half since I had gotten a PB. And now he's Raged Aura, again that is awful. He's so fast and does so much damage. Like, that setup does not work and I'm dead. Yeah. You can't do that setup with Raged Aura. He's just simply too fast. So that's my first death. And I'm straight back into the fight. I'm just trying to do this fight vanilla now, because I think I'm out of bombs. And I might only have one trap left, so of course, if you've got one trap left, you need to wait until he's weak. So I think that's what I did. I think I waited until I saw he was visibly weak until I tried trapping again. That was a very risky play by me, but I do get the head hit, break the aura, get run over by a pig. I'm playing so patient right now. And I get hit anyway. That's crazy. Because there's nothing I want more than just to play it safe and not die, and so I can get this PB. I think before this PB, I had lost previous PBs about 4 times to Sonoga. So I didn't want to make it a 5th. I wanted to get this over and done with. And this was during a 24-hour stream too, so I didn't want to be all demoralized and stuff. The next 10 hours... I got grappled, wow. I think I got hit by this grapple because I don't think I'd ever seen this animation before. So I got run over and yeah. It's my second death of the quest. So you can just imagine how nervous I am that I have no more carts left. I'm on pace for a PB for once. I have no bombs and a singular trap to take down the Sonoga. I was so nervous. And I basically get one shot by a heavy hit. Oh yeah, hitting his hind legs, I'm definitely nervous and trying to play it super safe. Simple walk to the right, set up on that, and he gets aura from that, which is so unfortunate because I hit his hand or paw. So we're back to the same scenario of Raged Aura. The exact thing you don't want to see. This trap was actually just... This was me just guessing. I had no idea he was weak. I just didn't want to be in this quest anymore. I wanted the run to be over. So I just guessed. I just placed it down and hoped for the best. Threw 2 tranks at him. Wow, he jumped straight over. And there we go. It's a gold split though. It is a gold split. Because my first Phoebe Zenogo was even worse than this, if that's even imaginable. But yeah, that's my 141.15. My current PB. There's a lot of time saved to be had in this run. Let's see the time here. Have to go back a bit. Yeah, look at that. 9 minutes 52 on Zenoga. That's... For speedrun standards, that's pretty poor. If this was just like a casual playthrough, it wouldn't bother me, but... Considering my PB for Zenoga is 3 minutes and 2 seconds, I have wasted 6 minutes and 50 seconds on this fight. So, the next time I get to this position, there is a huge time save to be had. So this did have potential to be like a 135 run, 135 something, which would have been very nice for a PB. I would have liked to have gotten a 135, but it's just nice to not have a 2-hour PB. It's nice to have better splits to work with. So that is my run versus Kanata's run. My current PB versus Kanata's world record.